A very good evening to you traders, it's Mark here from the day trading room. The time is 20 to 8 in the evening London time on Tuesday the 19th of July, and a very strong day it is too. We're up 188 on the Dow Cash, up 19 and a half, 19 and a quarter on the S&P 500, and a good day had by all so far. We've still got an hour and a half of trading to go, but a lot of action, a lot of good opportunities. But I want to talk about yesterday's trade first. Now, yesterday, those of you who don't know, launched the live trading room at the site, thedaytradingroom.com. Go and have a look there. Click on Join the Trading Room tab if you fancy that. Have a look, see if it's something that may benefit you. So, what do we do? Well, obviously, first thing to do is the morning meeting. And one of the things we look at in the morning meeting is the overnight session. So I'm going to bring in here, this is the overnight session here, that's the open, so this is all we've got to play with here. Now what am I looking at? Well, we had a really high volume node at the 12,375 level. I've moved these lines now relative to today's action, but 12,375 level was a real high volume node overnight. Overnight high was up here, overnight low was at 12,334. So I'm really interested in that 12,334 level, and as I said to the traders in the meeting, look how many times we tagged it. 1, 2, 3, and every time we've pushed down, we've bounced back up. I think there was another tag earlier actually. Yeah, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4 tags in total. Really key level. Lots of buying interest down there. So one of the hypotheses was, we've got two levels where we're going to open. We're going to open up about here. So we've got a level below us of the 12,334 overnight low and additional support from several days ago. We've got the high volume node of 12,375, or the most volume traded, or a level where a lot of interest was overnight, and we're opening right in the middle of that. So we're setting up quite nicely. What we want to see is how the market reacts to those levels as it approaches them, or even better, as it breaks them. So let's move over now to the actual regular trading hours and see what happened. So we opened up, we drove lower, and really low ticks. We started to push back up. This looked pretty strong, but as I said to people, we move over to the chat room after we have the morning meeting, which is text chat. And as I was saying in there, look at the ticks, guys. Look at the ticks. They are not going higher. We're getting the push up, but look where we're going. We're up to our level of interest from the overnight, where a lot of trade occurred. A lot of traders are looking at that level. Ticks are struggling to even get above 200. You know, this is the hypothesis we're looking for. If we're going to initiate a trade, we've got a great target, overnight low of 12,334, 35. It looks great. It's got a great quantified risk. As soon as it starts to roll over, we can take it. If it starts to pop up there, we can take it out. Or even better, we can add another filter of risk to the setup and say, hey, if the ticks go higher, we're out as well. So that was great. That started to roll over. I took some of the trade off here. I was concerned that we may have this, just one more shove. So take off the risk. Why not? Take the risk off. It's a free trade now. If I get my final target, great. It's a very nice trade. If I don't and it comes back and stops me out, I've still made money on the trade. You know, that's, you've seen, if you've seen my videos, you've seen enough of my videos, you'll know that's how I like to trade. So that was a nice little early morning, early trade, should I say, just after the open. Now, this is where we really want to start looking at the price action at our key levels. At this point here, we are at our key level, which was the overnight low. Not only that, but as I mentioned before, it was a level of support. We had a lot of buying interest there from the past 4 times we tagged it. So we're watching that. We've got low ticks. One of two things are going to happen here. We're going to now pop up and potentially take out highs, or we're going to roll over and we're going to catch people out. Now, I want to wait and see when we're at such a key level, and we're such an important level that everyone's watching. Sometimes I will back off, especially if I've just taken a nice trade. I will back off, and I'm going to let the market show me what's going to happen. Now, such a key level, the likelihood is when we get a break, we're going to get a pullback. You know, even if we get this sort of action, and you know I like to trade that sort of stuff. Or we're going to get a fake out and a drive up. And I was cautious, don't want to get caught on a fake out there. Now the tape was very, very weak, as I pointed out in the room. Tape sellers were there. They were sitting there. A lot of volume being soaked up there, especially when you're a few ticks off the low. Ticks are holding very, very, very poor ticks. Anyway, we broke through. I didn't take that. I let it run without me. We then started to push back up aggressively. Great. Okay, this is either going to give us an opportunity to get in on a perfect trade, or it's going to set up another type of trade for later. Now we push back up to that level, and as I hate to keep pointing them out because I hate to keep repeating myself, but the ticks were, they were just so poor. On a bounce of 35 points, the ticks could not even get above zero. Now I kept saying this in the room. I kept saying the ticks are so negative. They're so weak. There are tape sellers there, but there's still a little bit of buying. And then we just rolled over here, and it was just a great setup, to take. Don't chase. I was just saying, don't chase the trade because we're on a minus 1,000 tick here. Just wait for the little unwinding. We've got the little unwinding. Risk is quantified. It's a little bit of risk, but the target can be so great potential. Now, how do we manage the target on this? We look for we're going to have to look for some sort of bottoming pattern, because the ticks are so weak. They're so weak. They were getting minus 1,200, very, very weak ticks, really struggling to drive back up. And so the idea of the trade is to scale out, read the tape, and let's just see who's holding, who's not holding. Scaling out as you see fit as the market drives lower. So two great little trades. Perhaps I could have got on the break earlier here, but I wanted to wait and see. In actual fact, it worked out quite nicely because it rolled back up before curling back over. So it worked out really well. Really pleased with that. And then actually, what was happening is we put a little bottom in here. That's quite a drive. Just hold back. Don't chase this. I'm looking for some sort of little small counter trend move, catches people out, and then we might get a second rollover. And it's one of the setups, on a sort of longer term that I've talked about before. You get the drive lower, the first pullback, the deeper pullback, and the longer term pullback. So the 1 minute pullback, 2 minute pullback, 5 minute pullback, and the longer term pullback, and then it rolled over. Now at this point here, we're just saying in the room. So one of the traders came into the room and said, any position? No position for me. I'm out of now. What I'm waiting for, I said, is for some kind of counter trend cycle or a double bottom. That's what I'm looking for now. I'm not going to chase this market. That's what I'm going to wait for. I'm just waiting for that sort of action. And we actually got it. Wasn't much of a double bottom, but we got one. It did actually push through a lot lower, but it was quite a nice little setup. Okay for a little catch of a few ticks. But what we actually got was interestingly a tape buyer down near the lows. He was sitting there. And he was quite aggressively buying. But one of the points that I made in the room was just because there's a tape buyer there, it doesn't necessarily mean that you should be diving in straight in aggressively into a trade. Now, what I like to do when I see a tape buyer, and if my hypothesis was looking for that double bottom, and now to be fair, we did break quite a little bit lower. But it is this, it is that sort of fake out action and back up. Double bottom isn't necessarily always the tick. Sometimes it will fake out a few people before popping back up. Now this was a pretty poor rally, and we had a lot of resistance there at 80 to break through. But anyway, going back to the actual setup. Now there's a take buyer down there. Now how I like to trade that is I like to see what happens. If there's a take buyer there, I like to see what happens to the price if it goes underneath. So rather than just standing in front of the tape buyer, which I may do depending on the setup. Now if with this sort of setup here, then if I see a tape buyer, then yes, I know there's urgency there, I need to get in. But when we're looking at this sort of setup, looking for a buy on a double bottom or a fake out lower, I want to see what happens as the price goes below that tape buyer. So the tape buyer's there, he's soaking up a lot of stock, a lot of interest, a lot of futures contracts, should I say. I want to see if the price goes lower, does it immediately push back up? If so, that's two things in my favor. One is the risk is quantified. That level there is now my stop point. And the second point is that I've actually seen strength. I've seen the fact that buyers perceive that as value. There's a line in the sand. It's confirming my trade idea, my hypothesis for the trade. So that's what we got, and it was a nice little long position. It pushed up. It really struggled to get above the 80. Really struggled. I didn't give it much time really. I gave it once, twice, and the time it's still banging its head here. I thought there's no strength here. I'm not going to take it. Not going to take it. I'm not going to hold it, should I say, for any more. And then that was it. We sort of pushed up a little bit. A nice high tick reading here. One of the guys in the room got a short on there, which was a great call. You know, the highest tick of the day. Really struggled. That candle straight after. Fabulous take read. Rolled over and we got the new low. And this might be back again. This is worth looking at. The 5 o'clock or noon low. There you are. 5 o'clock there. Push lower. There's your little wick. And then we just started to counter trade back up. Now there was I didn't take that excuse me, didn't take that trade because I had quite a lot of good trades and I was concerned about getting caught out in something that I probably shouldn't be involved in. So all in all, a great day. You know, trading aggressively at the open, trading on that weakness, using the ticks as guidance. They really just gave the game away. You know, showed that hey, there's no reason to be buying. There's no reason to be buying yet until we see some sort of bottoming pattern. So that was the way we played that. And then today, not a fantastic day, to be honest. The opening drive, I was watching the tape. I was hovering over the buy button at 12 411. Didn't take it. I thought let's just wait and see, especially with yesterday's action having drove lower then higher. But it just took off. It just took off, waiting for a pullback. It didn't happen. Just kept holding at highs. Ticks were strong. So okay, I think okay, let's wait for the tick pullback. Ticks pull back, saying look at the ticks, guys. Keep an eye on those ticks. If they pull back and the price holds, you know we could be on for a trade here. Pulled back, the price held, and it shook me out. I took the long position. Now, why was I concerned about this? Now, let me just bring this in very quickly. Don't want to dwell on this too much. But I do want to point out this. The Dow Cash 12,500, such a key level, such a key level. It has been for a while. Pointed it out yesterday to everyone. Look, you can see 12,500, 12,500, 12,490 to 12,500, really key level. So that's what made me a little bit concerned about getting too carried away here. So what I did is I took the position. And I scaled out half pretty much immediately. I didn't want to take the risk. I didn't like the trade. And 9 times out of 10, that's the best thing to do. If you don't like it, reduce the risk. You don't need to get silly and close a position. But if you don't like it, reduce the risk. Why hold on to a trade that you don't feel confident and comfortable with? So that's what I did. Ticks pulled back to zero. Scaled out half immediately. I thought, okay, don't like this. And because I was a little bit twitchy with the trade, as soon as I got my 10 ticks, I was out of there. So 10 ticks on half, which was a little bit mismanaged, really, a bit poorly managed. I was waiting for my trade premise was look for 1,000 ticks. We haven't had 1,000 ticks, but really, hindsight, the ticks just drifted lower. You didn't get that jagged action that we did from the prior day. If you look from the prior day, we got jagged action where held lower, spiked. You know, we had that sort of confirmation that the sellers were very active. This was more a grind up a hold. So you know, not too much going on there. And then later on today, we had a little drive up, pullback, a difficult read. Disappointed I didn't catch this pullback here. Good drive higher, really high ticks, pullback in the ticks, and then 2 subsequent drives. I'm higher, but never mind. You know, it's one of those days. The day before was fantastic, and I'm looking forward to another great day tomorrow. So that's it, guys. As always, please manage your risk. You know, anytime I take a trade, I'm thinking, what is my risk? Where's my risk? How can I keep that risk managed? Do not want to get caught out. Do not want to take a large stop. I do not want to take a stop that's more than I planned or size more than I planned. Just keep that risk managed and everything else will fall into place. Have a look at the site daytradingroom.com. If you're interested in having a look at the room, then feel free. It may suit you, it may not. It's entirely up to you. The blog is going to keep going as normal, so keep an eye out for the videos. Just going to keep documenting the trades as normal. There'll be no change there. So good trading, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video, and please manage your risk. I shall be back with another video later in the week. Take care.